I've played a lot of video games, but there's quite a lot that I haven't played. Some of the games I've played have had puzzles. Some have had cars, some have had shooting, some have made me cry, some have made me laugh, some I could build things in or destroy them. Some only used text, some I played with friends, and some I've played alone. There are so many different types of games and so many different ways to play them that it's okay if you're a little bit confused about games. That's what I'm here for. So let's break down the absolute basics. Single-player games are played alone. They typically have a start and a finish, meaning that once all the levels of story have been completed, the game is over. However, there are generally lots of different ways to replay these games, particularly story-based games which have multiple endings. Some of the more well-known examples of single-player titles are The Last of Us, The Witcher 3, Doom, or even Crash Bandicoot. Online multiplayer games are played with other people. Games like Fortnite, League of Legends, and Rainbow Six Siege all see you compete against other players in real time, just like you would see on a football field or on a racetrack. What this means is you can't actually pause the game. It's kind of like asking someone to take out the trash in the middle of a footy match or stop in the middle of a running race to do the dishes. The team is depending on them to play their specific role, and not being there could let everyone down. Much like regular sport, different games have different match lengths depending on what genre they are and what rules they have. A good place to start is to try and familiarise yourself with the games that your kids are playing. For example, just start by asking them some questions. How do you score points? How many players are on your team? How do you win? Simple things like that can go a really long way to actually just understand the game a whole lot better. Genres. Battle Royale. Battle Royale are one of the most popular gaming genres in the world at the moment, with games such as PUBG, Apex Legends, Fall Guys, and Fortnite all falling into the category. You are placed in a large battle arena and the match ends when the final person or team is left standing. This usually takes around 20 minutes, although this can vary greatly. Typically, elimination happens through fighting and killing your opponents, although some games such as Fall Guys are more family friendly and have a bunch of non-violent minigames for you and your friends to compete in. When you are eliminated, you can leave and find a new match or stick around to find out who won, meaning that an early defeat can make a match significantly quicker. Mobas are strategy games and it stands for Multiplayer Online Battle Arena. In Mobas, two teams compete against each other with the goal of destroying the enemy's base. A typical match in a MOBA game will last roughly 40 minutes depending on how well the teams compete, but they can sometimes drag on a while if both teams are evenly matched and playing well defensively. When your player character dies in a MOBA, you end up in a timeout waiting to respawn back into the game after about a minute or so, allowing you to rejoin your teammates to help achieve the goal of the game. Some examples of MOBAs are Dota 2, League of Legends, and Heroes of the Storm. MMOs. The most popular MMO that you've probably heard of is World of Warcraft. So what are they? MMOs are massively multiplayer online games that put large numbers of players in the same virtual world. MMOs can usually be played individually or cooperatively with other players depending on your preference. You can either verse the virtual environment, known as PvE, player versus environment, or verse other people, known as PvP or player versus player. The goal of these games is to level up your character through different stories called missions, and finding new equipment to use on your character. Because MMO worlds are constant and exist even when they're not being played, playtime can be as long as you like. FPS. First-person shooters, better known as FPS, are games played in a first-person perspective that put the player in the character's shoes. The objective of an FPS game will vary greatly, as the main defining factor that makes the game an FPS is simply the perspective, so a game like Overwatch has a completely different objective compared to something like Call of Duty. Typically, match times in FPS titles are much shorter than other game genres. By now you've probably heard of Xbox, PlayStation, and the Nintendo Switch. These are the most popular consoles out there for gaming. Plus there's mobile phones and of course desktop computers, which most professional esports are played on. In the same way that there are lots of different streaming services out there to watch movies and TV shows, such as Netflix, Disney Plus, or Stan, there are lots of different ways that we can purchase video games. Often each platform will have titles that can be exclusively played on those devices, and buying a game for a particular console generally means that it won't work on another one. Instead, you have to buy the game all over again. The most popular virtual store for purchasing games on PC is the Steam store, although there are many alternatives such as GOG, Epic, Origin, Humble Bundle, just to name a few. All of these stores offer games at different prices or may have exclusive sales rights to titles at launch, so do keep this in mind if someone in your life is purchasing games on PC. Some games such as Fortnite, Rocket League, and Call of Duty enable crossplay between platforms, meaning I can be playing on my computer and my friend can be playing on PlayStation, but we can both be playing in the same game together. Not every game offers this feature, but it is important to understand so that we know what platforms games are available on. This is a lot of information to unpack, so the best way to help it settle in is with 2 things to Google and our 1 thing to do. Google number 1. Google video game genres. How many are there that you don't know? Google number 2. Google one of those genres that you haven't heard of before and watch some YouTube clips of people playing those games. And your to-do. Ask someone in your life what games they play and what platform they use. Let me know what you find in the comments because I'm going to be curious if there's any genres I haven't heard of, and there absolutely could be, which makes it a really awesome place for us to keep the conversation going. So to recap, there are lots of different types of games and lots of different ways to play them because there are so many different platforms available. It's important to know because that way we can have much more meaningful discussions about them, as well as maybe find some gaming genres that we might be interested in trying out ourselves. Who knows? If you have any questions about gaming or different types of games, or maybe you've found one that you're interested in trying out yourself, please let me know in the comments down below. Stay up to date with the latest content by hitting that subscribe button, and I will see you for more content next week. Otherwise, stay fabulous everyone, and let's keep learning.